This is Amy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I paint a fun Filbert brush design on this glass bottle. I am going to be using my new Filbert brushes. These are Amagic brushes, and let's see here. I am going to be using a number 6, a number 8, and a number 12. Again, these are new brushes. I'm excited to show you a fun design with them. And I'm also going to be using one of my other Amagic brushes that I got as well, which is a set of round brushes. And this is a number 2. And then I'm going to be using a number 4 Deerfoot Stippler and a dotting stylus. The paint I'm using for this design is Tea Berry, Wicker White, Fresh Foliage, Forest Moss, Schoolbush Yellow, Thicket, and Yellow Ochre. Originally I was going to use magenta, but how I was going to use it, it didn't end up working the way I had wanted, so I'm not going to be doing that. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. I am basically going to be loading my brush. Try to get these brushes out of the way, but loading my brush fully, and I guess I do mean fully, but just tapping the paint into the brush, and then I'm just going to step the tip of it into the white, the Wicker White, and begin. So what I'm going to do is put basically what I would consider like a bud starting towards the top, and if I feel like I didn't get enough on here, I can come back over, because I do want to make sure I get good coverage. When you're painting on glass, the main thing is to get the paint on thick enough so that it will not scratch easily and will create good coverage. Now on this bottle I did clean it off, and I actually went ahead and went over it with, and I forgot to tell you that, with the Gold Glam, and that will give it the sparkly background that I have on here, and hopes too that it'll actually allow my design to be again, better coverage, because I already have a base coat on here. And on this one I'm just pushing down with my brush, applying it, pushing it down, and then turning it a little bit. And I might want to go over this one in the center a little bit more because of the amount of white that's on it. But it's okay. I mean, if you like that look, it's fine. I don't want them to be the same. So just keep that in mind. I do not want the petals to all look the same. Alright, so then let's go ahead and start with our open bud in the center here. Let me do this. If you feel like you get too much paint on your brush, definitely feel free to wipe it off, scrape it off, however you can get it off nicely, and then continue on making your design. And when you're doing these strokes, go ahead and scrape some of it off. I'm just doing it on a paper towel. I'm not washing it in between. Water can actually cause the paint to not have the same properties as it would if you just wiped it off. It can weaken the paint. Unless you're using a medium, to thin it with or something to that matter if you want it to be a different consistency, but water is not a good mix for the paint. I'm not sure why I keep seeing these. Didn't have this issue on my paper, but for some reason, as I've noted before, painting on glass is definitely a different beast. And see over here it did the same thing, so I'm just going to go over it here and it's pulling it off. It's not quite as easy to do. I don't like that right there, so I might just kind of tip it in there a little bit. Not sure why it's doing this. I haven't had this problem before. The only problem too with these brushes is that they are long handled. So I'm just going to go over it very lightly because I don't want to pull it up. Alright. Might need to put a little bit more of the tea berry out. I really like this. This is the newer color, I believe. At least the place that I ordered it from indicated it was a new color. I'd never heard of it before. And I don't think I mentioned this, but all of my paints are FolkArt paints. I use a mixture of enamel and multi-surface. And the reason being is that there's different colors available. And when I say that, sometimes the colors that I'm wanting are not available, so I get what's close and what's available in the other brand. I have heard, and I don't know how true this is because I haven't experienced this personally, some people prefer the enamels when they're painting on glass, even though the multi-surface should be fine. I've heard some people say that they prefer the enamel for glass. The one thing nice about getting the multi-surface is that you can use it for other surfaces, although I have to be honest with you, I've always used it for other surfaces, the enamel. So that's not something new for me, but I've had people say, you know that's for glass, right? Yeah, I know. And I'm sorry this is happening here. It's not really normally that difficult. Again, you just have to modify and do what you need to do when you're doing this type of painting. Alright, I want to put 3 opens here. And this is a good sized bottle, so it shouldn't be a problem. I just like how these streaks are just kind of going on. Just kind of freely. They're not really set. You know, all identical. Sometimes you get them to be more similar or whatever when you're doing more of a one-stroke technique, and which is fine. But I like this look. I'm just trying to get, for some reason, these edges, it's driving me crazy. But you can play around with it, because like I said, with these brushes, with this style of brush, the Filbert, you can do different strokes with them. So I'm just going to do it like that. Alright, so then I want to put down here, I'm going to brush this off a little bit, just some more little buds. And again, I like the randomness of the colors. I really do. And I'm going to make sure I have enough paint in here because I want this covered. With one stroke you typically have your colors lined up pretty much. you know, so they're on one side of the stroke, and this is just kind of intermixed, which I like. Okay, and I think I'm going to leave it at that. I was going to put another partial down here. Now, maybe I can. I just don't want it to be too full because I want to have my leaves on here too. And you know, if you follow me, you know that leaves are very important to me. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is use my liner brush to start doing some of the green. And I want to, because I'm going to be tapping in my centers, but I'm going to go ahead and stick my liner brush is going to have all the thicket, and then I'm going to do the tip into the forest moss. I'm going to come up here because I want this all, I'm going to put the green around it all the way like that. And you can always come in here and throw, you know, some more color in it if too much of one color is showing and you want it to have more, you know, a mixture. And I kind of do like it to be, you know, where there's a couple different colors at least showing. Don't want too much white in there. And I'm going to come up here and do the same thing around this one. You can do it with the other brushes too. I did on my paper sample, but I think it's easier to do it with the liner brush. And if you want to have some of that tea berry mixed in with the green, I think that's pretty too. But see, just very simple. And keep in mind too, and I always try to mention this on my videos, just so that people are aware that my videos, the intent of my channel is to give you some ideas of designs that can be done, but I also want it to be something that's simple, that a lot of times people don't feel like they are creative or can be creative, and I hear that quite often, oh, I can't do that. Well, my goal is to provide designs that you can do, that you feel comfortable at least giving it a try, because they're not that difficult. And I want to try to create even more designs that are simple and make people feel comfortable doing, because oh, I need to tap in here too, I forgot about that. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit of green right around the edges here, because I'm going to be tapping in a center. And see, I like the mixture of the tea berry in here as well. You know, sometimes that can just give it a really nice look. We'll come down here, turn it around, do the same thing down here. On this particular bottle, I'm just doing the front for the purpose of the video. I like, depending on which ones, the Jägermeister bottles, I just do the fronts. Most of the other bottles I do all the way around. But for some reason with the Jägermeister bottles, I feel like because of the shape, they're going to be just placed, and you know, they'll just be placed on a shelf, and you'll see them just the front for some reason. It may not be true. Might just be how I feel, but and then I'm just going to put these little guys right together here. And then just some other, tips and tricks and whatnot. Make sure when you're putting your paint on that you get it as opaque as you can, because you want it to be durable, you want it to last, you want your design to be something that you can enjoy for years to come and not scratch easily. And the thicker this paint is put on, the better that's going to be for you. When you're ready to bake it, just make sure that you've allowed your item to dry, air dry for at least an hour with this paint. All these instructions are varied depending on the paint that you're using. They're all different, so make sure that you don't just hear me say this and then use a different brand of paint and go by what I'm saying. Definitely follow what the manufacturer has placed on the bottle, because their instructions will be on your bottles. As far as I understand, baking them allows them to be a little bit more durable as well. Not sure how true that is. It's just something I've learned and heard from other painters. But this paint, you can air dry it for 21 days and it be fully cured at the end of that point. Now that doesn't mean you can't use it. It just means that it's fully cured at that point. It will air dry sooner to touch, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, so we're to this point here with the liner. We'll put that aside for now. And what I'm going to do is then fill my little brush here. I'm going to go ahead and do all of the moon yellow to start with. I'm actually tapping in. I want this, the partially opens to have a center as well. And this is, obviously not realistic as far as the flowers go. You would have other petals on a partially opened. I hope you understand what I mean here. I'm going to come down here to the bottom and tap in. Then I'm going to put the heel of my brush, get some tea berry on there, and I like to tap my little plate here. And you can put it on thicker or thin. There's a lot of different ways to use this brush that I've got right now to tap these in. You can actually hit it with a dryer heat gun, something that would dry it quicker. But when you put it on thickly, that's probably not going to happen too much as far as it drying quickly. I'll turn this around. Probably should put some more paint on my little plate here. Alright, so then I'm going to maybe come back in here with a little bit more yellow. Again, when you're doing this, just play with it. It doesn't have to all be done. You can put a coat on it and then come back through. Let it dry a little bit and come back through and tap in more. Work it, get it to how you like it. They don't all have to be the same, which is fine. And I'm just going to put a little bit of white up in here, a little bit more up here. I just want them to be very loose. Okay, And like I said, if you want to keep working on them, you can. I'm just going to leave them like this. The next step I'm going to do, because I do like to come in with some dots, of course. I need to put some more of my tea berry. I keep using this. I think this is very pretty though. I hope you like it. If you do, make sure you give me a big thumbs up before you leave. I would appreciate that. Alright, so on this, I am going to be coming down here with some leaves, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of even pull these down into the bottom off of the flower itself. No biggie. Again, I'll probably have some leaves going over it, but that's okay. I know that already. You can use a different color if you want something that's more of a contrast. I guess on these just didn't want it to be that big of a contrast. You can do just over to the side, or you can do around it, the entire center if you want. I'm just going to do towards the bottom. I want it to be on there, but it doesn't necessarily have to like hit you in the face when you look at it. And I'm sorry, my air conditioning is kicking on. Honestly didn't think it would do that today. Oh, I forgot to tap the center in there. What the heck am I thinking? I didn't even notice that. Okay, here we go. I don't know how I missed that. So paying attention to what I'm doing that I missed it. Okay, I want this one. I think I'm going to kind of make it like that. There you go. I'm not going to mess with this one too much since I missed it. I'm going to put a little bit more white on there. Back in here and tap some more yellow in. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. Can't believe I missed that. Alright, so then on this one, I'm going to have more dots going like this. And again, if you want it to show up more, you can put some more, you maybe even add some white into this mix, because that will definitely make it pop. I just don't really care for it to be real noticeable. And you can even come down more into your petals. You don't have to stick right up around it. So on this one, I'm going to come up in there a little bit, and once again I'm down on the gloss underneath. Whatever I show you, if you think, oh, that's kind of odd, I don't like it, then don't do it. This is just me and how I do it. You don't have to do it the same way. Alright, so we got that going. The next thing I'm going to do is take my number 8 brush, and I'm going to go into my thicket and get the bristles. And then I'm going to go into the moss or forest moss and start doing my petals. Or my, not petals, but my leaves. Again, if you think that they're too light, just go back in them and put paint over them again. Make them a little darker, and you can come out here underneath, and these are easy. I mean, like I said, I'm going to just do like that. You can put a stem in them if you want. You can just leave them without stems if you don't really want to mess with that. I typically like to put a stem in mine as much as possible. And if you feel, like I said, if you feel like they're too light, then just give them some drying time and go back over them. That's one thing nice about doing it this way. It's just a single layer basically, so it's easy to, you know, go back in and go back over them, hit them with a hairdryer. This style of brush makes a very nice, just single pull kind of a leaf. Like that. Now if you want, you can come back in, maybe even take on another color, but put it back through. Maybe do this just to some of them. See how nicely these work, the petals. Just very simple. And I like that. So you can rotate it a little bit, you know, to where you're not putting all the same color leaves in. And I'll show you something here in a second with the liner brush. I'm just kind of looking to see where else I could maybe throw a leaf in. And throw maybe another color on top of it. I don't want to work it too much because then you're going to start pulling the paint up and you don't want to do that. Like that. And let's see here. I mean, you can go through and add leaves wherever you think you need them. I am going to do something a little different though, and I didn't want to use this brush, but I did. Okay, good, it stopped. Yay. Alright, so let me look here and see. Probably want to put a few more up in where the blooms are. And again, don't want to do too much. I don't want to do, you know, overwork it like that. See just how simple. Again, you can take these brushes. I had somebody tell me a long time ago, you know, just take a brush and sit down, figure out all the different ways you can use it. You know, that's how I do it, is what they said. Meaning, you know, which way you, how much pressure you put on a brush, what direction you put a brush. I mean, there's just so many different things that you can do. So I get what they were saying with that. Now I'm going to switch to my next brush, which is the number 6. I'm almost done. I appreciate you bearing with me here. I'm going to go into the yellow ochre and maybe even hit into the white a little bit, and then just create. Now I can go actually draw a stem up and about, or I can just go with it. But basically I'm just going to do some other colored leaves in here, and I might be pulling in some of the green or the red because I'm going over areas that are already painted. So that's very possible. If you don't like doing a different color like this, that's you know, just kind of throwing a new color in, I get it. That's fine. But it's just, you know, to do something a little different. And like this one, I want it to be a little darker, so I'm going to go over it a little bit. And then maybe put another one out here. And then I'm going to just kind of in a few spots do this. Again, just to give it a little more interest. I can draw a little stem here, one out here, and then do some little poles. Yeah, just another way to add some different color. I think I got some green in that one, which is fine, but that's not really what I wanted. Now if you want to do a different color too, leaves don't always have to be green either. I mean, that's something I think a lot of us typically do, but it's not a requirement. Alright, so I'm going to kind of do a little bit more here, I think. Maybe pull some out here. And you can do them like, you know, wave the branches a little bit so that they're not just completely straight. Put a little curve into them. I'm going to keep getting green in there because I'm going over it. But it's almost kind of a replacement for putting in different flowers with this, because I didn't add any other flowers in. Just going to do a little bit more down towards the bottom here. And let's kind of do it here, here, maybe come out down here a little bit, because I really didn't put a vine on the bottom here. Yeah, for the stem. And I like that I'm overlapping it. See how I just did that? Just go like flip, flip. That just kind of gives it a little extra paint on it. Alright, I think we're done for now. Oh no, we're not. Sorry, I did miss something here. I meant to do this. If you want to come back in, got all this paint on here, and do like little stems going into your leaves, you can take the little brush and do that. Like I said, I forgot this part. I said, oh, I'll show you later, but I meant in this video, not in another video. We're just going to do it just very lightly, as I mentioned. If you don't want to add this part in, that's fine, you don't have to. But some of these I put out away from the flower, so realistically I probably should put a stem in them. Make that a little darker. Oh, I can't get that. And just kind of look and see where you need to put them in. Alright, I think we're good. Alright, now I think I'm done. Alright, look how pretty that is. Beautiful. Alright, I hope you like this. Once again, if you do, give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and before you go, if you would take a few minutes to share this on your social network with all your family and friends, I would greatly appreciate that as well. Thanks so much for taking the time to view my video, and stick around and view some more if you want to. Until the next time, stay safe and healthy, and have a good one.